Bayley, for some odd reason, has always, to me, been overlooked, overshadowed, or just a little underappreciated. And I never just fully understood that because Bayley, to me, honestly, belongs in the GOAT conversation more than, people want to give her credit for, I think. Bayley was able to thrive huge as a babyface in NXT. And I'm talking about one of those, cheesy, hugger, like baby faces that usually get booed by a majority of the audience. Like, there's different type of baby faces you can be, and for the people to be like a John Cena type baby face, like where you just appealing to the kid audience and you're like the superhero type baby face. A lot of fans always usually turn on those type of good guys. But not Bayley, though. She was embraced and accepted widely in the NXT crowd where, people really felt sympathy for her, like when she was losing big matches. Like when she lost to Asuka and we knew she was leaving NXT, people cried. Then after a while, that babyface gimmick, that ran its course. And then she turns heel, cuts her hair, changes her entire image and everything, right? And then she thrives even more, probably you could say, as a heel. And it was during COVID when the fans weren't even there. She had one of the best runs, as women's champion in WWE history during a time when there were no fans, during a time when the world was shut down. She was one of the MVPs during the pandemic era. Bayley has had good and great matches throughout her course in WWE and NXT, even on the main roster with many different women's superstars. She can cut promos, she can be entertaining, she can be serious, she can be a babyface very well, she can be a heel very well. She can really do a lot of great things. Pretty much everything. Not to mention, she also helps other talent and puts people over. She puts a lot of people over, actually. Like, the last few years, Bayley actually has been losing more than she's actually been winning to try to help elevate other talent. And then you look at her body of work and her resume and all the things she's accomplished throughout her career. NXT Women's Champion, you can check that off. Raw Women's Champion, you can also check that off as well. SmackDown Women's Champion, you bet she's done that as well. She was one half of the first ever Women's Tag Team Champions, which is history in the making right there. Because there's only a first time for everything. So you can check that off, history, in the making, that stuff that she's accomplished throughout her career. Money in the Bank, check, she's done that. Royal Rumble win, she's also accomplished that. And Bayley is the first woman ever in WWE history to become the first Triple Crown and Grand Slam champion. Realistically, the only really big thing she hasn't done is main event WrestleMania, which she possibly maybe could do this year with Io. Everything else, Bayley has pretty much accomplished everything there is to do in wrestling. She's won all the major championships. She's, accomplished a lot of things and made history. She's had great matches, epic matches throughout her time in WWE. She's thrived extremely well as a babyface and extremely well as a heel. Bayley all around is just an incredible performer. Bayley is one of those superstars that gets overlooked by a lot of people and doesn't get talked about enough, I feel like, to be, one of the best of all time. Bayley's top 5 all time when it comes to women. Maybe even top 3. Honestly, real talk, Bayley could be the GOAT if we're really being honest here. Like, all the things I just named that she's done throughout her time frame and all the successful stuff she's had throughout her career, she could be the GOAT. And then if she gets to main event WrestleMania this year, you can check that off right there and add that to her legacy because that only builds her up even further to make her more of a legend. And if she becomes women's champion, you could also add that to her legacy because she'll get another run as women's champion. And then, realistically, the only title she need to go after to hold that she hasn't held is the Women's World Heavyweight Championship, which is held by Rhea Ripley. But other than that, Bayley has done everything there is to do. She needs more respect on her name. Bayley is my all-time favorite women's wrestler in history. And being such a huge Bayley fan, it's always bothered me a little bit that I haven't heard, more conversations with her, being in the same category, in the same breath with like a Trish, a Lita, a Mickie James, an AJ Lee, a Nikki Bella, a Becky Lynch, a Charlotte Flair, a Sasha Banks, even a Bianca Belair, a Rhea Ripley, those are all great women, but Bayley's name is right there in that conversation. She's sitting right there at the table with them, as far as, some of the greats. Like I said, Bayley to me is top 5 all time. You could even say top 3. She could also, realistically, even be the GOAT. With everything I just said, you can't deny it, man. Bayley needs more respect on her name. I want to hear more conversations with her when it comes to, being one of the greatest women superstars of all time. Because there are people who do give her respect, don't get me wrong. But I don't hear it as much as I do with other superstars, is what I'm saying. And I feel like she deserves more of that love.